It is August 27th. You have waited 458 days, over a decade if you go back to the very beginning, and the moment is finally here. The countdown hits 0. Your first real look at Grand Theft Auto 6, roughly 20 minutes of it, goes live. You press play, and nothing happens. A frozen screen. A spinning loading icon, an error message staring back at you. While all across the internet, people are already screaming about what they just saw. Your feed is exploding. Everyone has seen it, everyone except you, because Rockstar just made a decision that could lock you out of the biggest gaming moment of the decade at the exact second it matters most. They are not premiering this on YouTube. They are not premiering it on their own website. They are dropping it exclusively for 6 long hours on Netflix. And here's the part that should genuinely worry you. You will get to see it eventually, yes, on YouTube. 6 hours later at 9 at night. But those 6 hours are going to be a nightmare. 6 hours of dodging spoilers. 6 hours of thumbnails and clips and screaming reactions flooding every app you open. Spoiling the story, the map, the gameplay, everything. Before you have seen a single frame with your own eyes. And that is the good scenario. The bad one is that Netflix, the platform Rockstar just handed this to, has a documented, humiliating history of completely collapsing during its own biggest moments. It has died in front of the entire world before, more than once. And now it is about to face what might be the largest simultaneous stampede of viewers it has ever seen. Everyone's slamming in at 3 in the afternoon Eastern Time to see Vice City for the very first time. So the real question is no longer just what Rockstar will show us. It is whether you will be watching it live or sitting there locked out with a frozen screen while the whole world moves on without you. In this video, I'm going to show you the proof that Netflix cannot handle this, the confirmed length of the footage that makes it so much worse, and the group of fans who are getting shut out completely. But stick around, because the detail I'm saving for the end turns this from a possible mess into an almost guaranteed disaster, and almost nobody is talking about it. To understand why this fear is so real, you have to see what Netflix has already done to its own users, because this is not some paranoid theory. It is a documented pattern of failure. Let us start with the most humiliating example when Netflix hosted the Mike Tyson vs. Jake Paul boxing fight, one of the most hyped live events of the entire year. The platform folded like paper, widespread buffering, constant crashing. Millions of people who had shown up specifically for that one night were met with frozen screens and error messages, unable to watch the single thing they tuned in for. And before you write that off as a one-time fluke, it happened again. When Netflix released the final season of Stranger Things, one of the biggest television events on the planet, the service collapsed within minutes. Outage trackers exploded with over 14,000 reports in the United States alone, and thousands more poured in worldwide as the app froze and threw connection errors at furious fans. It happened during a live Love is Blind reunion too. So let me be completely blunt with you. This is a company with a proven, repeated embarrassing inability to survive its own biggest moments. And now into that track record of failure, Rockstar is throwing the most anticipated reveal of the decade. Think about the raw scale. The last GTA 6 trailers pulled in hundreds of millions of views. The first one shattered records within hours. This is bigger than a boxing match. It is bigger than Stranger Things. And it is being funneled through a platform that could not keep a boxing match online. If the wave hits at 3 and history repeats, a massive number of people are going to be staring at a loading icon instead of Vice City. But that is only the beginning of the problem, because what Netflix just confirmed about the footage makes this even more brutal. Because a new detail just dropped that raises the stakes enormously. When fans pushed Netflix on exactly how long this extended look would actually be, the answer that came back was around 20 minutes. 20 full minutes. Now I want to be straight with you, because this reportedly came through an automated response rather than an official statement. So hold it with a little caution, but it lines up perfectly with everything we would expect. For comparison, Rockstar released only about 10 minutes of gameplay for Red Dead Redemption 2, and they split that across 2 separate videos. So 20 minutes in one sitting would be, by a mile, the single biggest drop of footage this series has ever handed us, and that is exactly what makes this Netflix gamble so painful to think about. This is not some throwaway 30-second teaser you can shrug off if it stutters for a moment. This could be 20 uninterrupted minutes of gameplay, story, characters, and the streets of Vice City. The exact thing this community has been starving for since fans were literally analyzing pizza deliveries to Rockstar's office just to feel something. Now picture that treasure, the footage you waited a decade for, freezing and buffering on you halfway through the most important mission reveal of the entire showcase. That is the nightmare sitting directly in front of us. And believe it or not, the crashing is not even the part that has split this fan base in half. because a huge chunk of the community is not just worried about crashes. They are furious that this is on Netflix at all, and it comes down to one word: paywall. For those first 6 hours, if you want to watch the reveal the moment it goes live, you need an active Netflix subscription in your hand, and people did not take that lying down. One fan called it, and I'm quoting them directly, "unbelievably scummy," arguing that premiering it on Netflix first is nothing but a cynical scheme to sell subscriptions, and that any other studio on Earth would be torn to shreds for pulling the exact same move. Another called it peak Rockstar arrogance, hiding a potential first-ever gameplay reveal behind a subscription, even a cheap and temporary one. Someone else fired off. Funny how trailers are going to show up on piracy sites now, which, let us be honest, is almost guaranteed. That footage will be ripped and re-uploaded within minutes, but the principle still cuts deep for a fan base that waited over 10 years, only to be told the front row seat comes with a price tag. And yet, here's where it gets interesting, because not everyone agrees, and the people firing back might actually have the stronger argument. One reply sliced right through the outrage, saying, "There are scummy things in this world, and someone not being able to watch an advert for 6 hours is not one of them." And they have a point, because at the end of the day, this exact footage is free for the entire planet on YouTube that same night, just 6 hours later. So the real war tearing this community apart is, this is a 6-hour head start behind a paywall genuinely scummy? Or is it just a fan base so impatient after 458 days that 6 hours feels like 6 years? Sit with that, because the answer is not as obvious as either side thinks. And it is about to get even messier because of the detail I promised you at the very start. Here it is, the part almost nobody is talking about, and it is the one that makes this feel less like a premiere and more like a disaster waiting to happen. It is not just about crashes, it is not just about paywalls. Some fans are getting completely and permanently locked out of the 3 o'clock premiere through absolutely no fault of their own, with zero workaround. Because here's what everyone forgets. Netflix, for all its reach, is not actually everywhere. The service runs in more than 190 countries, which is nearly all of them, but there are a handful of places where Netflix simply does not exist at all. And if you happen to live in one of those countries, the premiere is not something you can just open an app and watch. There is no app. There is no login. The front row seat is not just expensive for you, it is bricked shut, and you are forced to sit and wait the full 6 hours like a second-class fan for a game you have loved just as long as everyone else. And then, on top of all of that, comes the timing, which could not be worse. This whole thing is landing right in the middle of Gamescom, one of the single biggest gaming events on the entire calendar, when the internet's attention and server loads are already stretched to the limit. So stack it all up, a platform with a proven crash history. Possibly its largest surge of viewers ever. 20 minutes of the most wanted footage on the planet. Locked behind a paywall, shutting out entire countries. Dropped in the middle of the busiest week in all of gaming. When you line every one of those factors up next to each other, the wave that hits at 3 stops looking like a celebration and starts looking like a stress test that Netflix has a very real chance of failing. So let me bring this all home, because when you actually step back and look at it, the whole situation is honestly staggering. Rockstar has taken the most anticipated reveal in the history of gaming and handed it to a platform that has publicly crumbled during its own biggest nights, from a boxing mega fight to the finale of one of the most popular shows on the planet. They locked the first 6 hours behind a subscription, splitting their own fan base down the middle. They shut out entire countries where Netflix does not even exist, and they scheduled the whole thing in the middle of Gamescom, when the internet is already gasping for bandwidth. Now, to be completely fair, there is a genuine chance it all goes off without a hitch. That Netflix braced for the storm and the stream holds strong. And no matter what happens at 3 in the afternoon, that footage will be free for the entire world on YouTube at 9 that same night. Crash-proof and open to everyone. So here's my honest advice, and it might just save you a lot of frustration. If you want the safest, cleanest, guaranteed way to watch your first real look at Grand Theft Auto 6, do not gamble on the wave at 3. Wait the 6 hours and watch it on YouTube at 9, where there is no paywall, no country lock, and no spinning loading icon standing between you and Vice City. But if you cannot wait, and let us be real, most of you absolutely cannot, then brace yourself, because you might just witness the biggest game on Earth break one of the biggest streaming platforms on Earth, live in front of the whole world. If you want to know exactly what I think this 20-minute extended look is going to reveal, and the specific gameplay features Rockstar is finally about to show off, watch the video on your screen right now where I break down everything we are expecting, and subscribe, because the second that footage drops on August 27th, crash or no crash, we are tearing apart every single frame of it, first, right here.